This is Birdie with Birdie's Crumb Chat. I thought I'd take you guys outside today. It's pretty. The sun is shining. Blue sky. The birds are chirping. I was watching some videos, a few video clips this morning, and I ran across Nature Lover's video that she posted this morning. And she's been doing some really good videos. I've noticed she has had some clips like discussing theories and her ideas and thoughts, and then she's kind of tied that into several clips from other YouTube creators that have actually interviewed the parents and had them on live stream. And so that's always helpful. I wish that I was technologically inclined and could do those things, but I don't know how to edit and tie in the videos and stuff to my commentary. So unfortunately, I'll just have to hopefully direct you to where I've read these things or seen these different videos, and then try to go back and link them into my description after I get done. I don't know if I can see the chat. I've never live streamed through YouTube before. I've always done it through Restream or StreamYard. So if you're chatting, if anybody's here, I don't know if I can see that or not. So I apologize in advance, but I was hoping to interact with you guys because I think it's great when people can come in and say hello and offer their suggestions or their thoughts on everything. It's so helpful. I always enjoy seeing everybody else's perspective and just trying to consider all things. Of course, Nature Lover's video was regarding Summer Wells when she's a 5-year-old child missing from Rogersville, Tennessee. She was reported missing on June 15th in the year 2021. TBI always has great, frequently asked questions and more information about her case investigation, which is very little, but on their Twitter page. So I would encourage everybody to always check that out for the most reliable, factual information. So, of course, Summer, being now that it's 2023, she would now be 7 years old. But Nature Lover's video this morning specifically was discussing the possibilities that Summer was involved with an accident, and was there a possibility to try and cover that up. I know that's always been a theory that a lot of people have considered. I want to take you guys back to, regarding this theory specifically, I want to take you guys back to, excuse me, the very beginning when Summer's father, Don Wells, was interviewed by a Rogersville reporter known as Jeff Bobo. And he is a journal for the Rogersville Review. And he did a very good telephone interview with Mr. Wells. And this was in the earlier days. I apologize, I don't have the exact date. But I'm going to try to find the interview and link that in the description. But, you know, he interviews the father, and there were several statements made that kind of stood out to me during that interview. I kind of discussed this also in my video I did regarding circumstantial evidence and words matter in Summer Wells' investigation. But we go back, and Mr. Wells in the interview, he starts talking about um, going back in time. I'm not sure what prompted this thought process, but he starts discussing his childhood a little bit. And when he was a young boy, he had a friend, one of his childhood friends, that accidentally shot his father. And he talks about it being very traumatizing to the child. Um, I think his father passed away, unfortunately, from this accident. And then I want you to listen to the statements that were mentioned directly after him kind of speaking about um, this accident that happened. And he then goes on to his family and speaking about Summer and how I don't know how to phrase this. I'm trying to do it eloquently without insinuating certain things, and that's kind of difficult. However, just please listen to that interview and the statements that follow this childhood story, okay? Um, he does talk about how, I just don't know how to say it, guys. Anyway, um, it is important, I think, to note there were mentions of, by the family. I don't believe this was ever mentioned by anyone else other than the family or brought into Summer's story other than the family stating about CPS coming due to the reports of, them having BB guns up on the hill. Um, that's concerning, obviously. But I also think about is it possible that some sort of accident or trauma could have happened to Summer before 6/15/21 or in the early hours of 6/15/21? Is it possible that the text messages from June 4th, 21, between H and Candace, Summer's mother, is that possible that those text messages were used as a way to kind of recreate the events on 6/15? Was there issues there, trying to aid in some type of covering up? Why did they seemingly go to several different places that sold vapes, alcohol, Delta, edibles, Delta 8, Delta 9, I don't know. Why would you go to several different shops in the area? There's Catch 22. Now, that business is a smoke shop. It's located in very close quarters to the actual tobacco discount store. It's an orange building located on the corner of Fort Henry Drive, right there, that intersects with Warpath. And Catch 22 is just right there. They also sell tie-dyes, edibles, Delta 8s, gummies, Skittles. I believe Kraken Cases had mentioned that specific business when the hippie house was mentioned in other places. That's another place that sells the same type of merchandise, also. I understand in one of the videos, and I can't remember which one exactly, but it was mentioned that the parents of Allie had really tried to use certain things as kind of bribery to get him to behave better, perhaps. So just try to think about that for a minute, um, and the reason why they perhaps went to several different places that day. So think about, what if something did happen to Summer? Who was involved? You know, why why was it, if that indeed happened, why was it not reported immediately? It seems like if anything was covered up, it was for a reason. What if her closest contacts were not involved? What if it was someone else that perhaps lived close by? What if the family's being blackmailed? I go back to a video I listened to. It's been a long time ago. And a close neighbor was stating having trail cam coverage, trail cam video of the days and nights prior to Summer's disappearance. And I listened to them speaking and saying, I have coverage, basically. That's kind of paraphrasing here, but basically saying that I have video of the goings on in the days prior to Summer's disappearance, up till and after. The very bad going on in the days before. And I think there was some accusations at that time that were flying around their family. And it felt like it was some type of warning, or some type of, I have this footage that you do not want to get out for whatever reason. And I'm tired of being accused. I'm tired of the drama that's ensuing from all this. And I suggest you knock it off. However, what's the motive behind that other than drama? Is there something other than drama avoidance and accusation avoidance? Obviously, anybody would be angry and sick of hearing that, right? If everything is innocent and there's no involvement there. But you do wonder of the alternative. It does make you think, if something did happen and there was involvement of someone other than direct family members, was that potentially used as a tactic to get the family members not to speak? Because when the father went on the channel Voices Behind the Wall the other night and was speaking with Cher, a close neighbor came into the chat. And when he spoke, he was speaking to her. And he said, you know the truth, I know the truth, and God knows the truth. And when he said that, it was just very plain, very simple statement. There was no BS behind it. There was no fluff, no fillers needed. It was just very final, and it appeared honest to me. Very honest. One of the most honest statements I've potentially ever heard. So, is that true? Is that, that they do know the truth of what happened? Possibly they couldn't contact the police if something traumatic did happen to Summer at the very moment it happened, because of the activity that was going on in the holler, which we later found out was actually going on because several people were arrested for drugs. Several people, several close contacts, right? And would they risk that with all of those people involved potentially, however many there were, for Summer? Was there fear of not reporting due to the fear of what was potentially going on in that area at that time? Fear of the people and their connections. It's possible, right? I think so. I think it's possible. It's very possible. And another important, possibly important letter I want you guys, or, well, yeah, it's a letter. I want you guys to look back. Justin Pearl had a video, and it's been a while ago, but he was showing some screenshots of where Candace had written Dawn a letter when he was in jail, just about their life and things that she was talking about. And he had shared some screenshots. It was like a 3 to 4 page letter, I believe. And I found it kind of interesting. Nobody had really talked about it. The letter, state, what was said in it. And I'm not too sure, but I believe that Candace's friend Kathy had maybe shared that with someone. I don't know. But it does I always question the validity of things in Summer's case, because as you all have seen, as I have seen, people have probably edited text messages, possibly live stream, voice recordings. We don't actually know the legitimacy of something. There have been people that have been honest and actually admitted to being paid to run interference or post certain narratives and get others to believing them, which in my opinion is interfering with an investigation, obstruction of justice. Absolutely. There's a little butterfly. But so back to the validity, I do question if the contents of the letter are true. Is that truly coming from her heart and what she was thinking at that time? Or was that potentially someone telling her or advising her on what to say to lead one to think a certain way? That bothers me because I don't know. However, if we take it for what it's worth, and if you look at it as it's honest and it's truthful and it's what she wanted to convey at that time. She said in the letter, I believe it was maybe even on the first or second page, that she, on June 15th in 2021, Candace said that and I'm going to have to paraphrase this because I don't have the actual letter and screenshot in front of me, but she said that she died that day. And 2 or 3 days later, she died again. And that was referencing the day Summer allegedly disappeared. And then two days later, she felt the same way. So it makes me feel, those words make me feel like something very traumatic had happened other than a possible abduction. And the reason is just due to the actions of how the family acted directly after her disappearance. It seemed like there was not an urgency for searching and not having the answers to her whereabouts. Now, that's just an appearance, an observation I'm making. Everything is my opinion in this video, just my thoughts. So it seemed like things were there was a finality to how I perceived their actions to be, in regards to there was not, searching for answers, being close with law enforcement, you know, and then it makes me wonder if, something traumatic could have happened this summer on that day or the night before or early that morning. And then did they take her somewhere potentially for a few days that she possibly, is it possible that something happened and she didn't make it? Because there is some significance in that 2 days later. What is that? That's what I question, causing her to feel like she died again. I know the boys were not removed until July, in the middle to end of July, I believe. It was like maybe 5 to 6 weeks after Summer's disappearance. So what was the thing a few days later that caused this additional traumatic feeling? I wish that if anybody's like chatting, I don't know. I wish that I could see. Hey, I see you now. Winifred Sanderson. Hey, girl. Heatherland, how you doing? Thank you for coming in and listening. I didn't know if I was going to be able to see chat or not, because I've never done it like via YouTube before. I've always done it on StreamYard. So this is new. This is different. But I would definitely encourage you guys to go back and I'm going to try my best to link these videos in my description, because I think it's helpful to look at them separately, but then put them together for a potential scenario of the things that could have happened surrounding that day and the days after. I know Chris McDonough interviewed Allie, Leslie, Hunter's, was it great-grandmother? H's great-grandmother. Sorry, I didn't mean to say that. And I apologize because I don't remember her name specifically. And then H, of course. He interviewed them sitting on their porch very earlier on after Summer's disappearance. And Leslie said something that caught my attention. I know Chris McDonough had spoken. He was relating with the family and showing that he had lost his son. His son had died in a tragic car accident, and he was sharing that with them in a very relatable, manner, gaining trust and things like that. And from him sharing his story, Leslie Hill said in her interview, she said, there was an organization, I'm not going to name them specifically in this video. There was an organization that helped me out when my nephew was murdered in my driveway. And I don't know if she was relating her story of loss to Chris's story of loss, or if there was any additional meaning that was behind those statements. But I'd like for you guys to revisit that interview and kind of see how you feel about it. I think it could possibly be one or two of those things. What do you guys think? Do you have any thoughts about this? What I've talked about so far? Can you hear the birds chirping? I wish the truth would come out. I wish law enforcement would at least give an indication of where the investigation is heading, what direction they're seeing things in. I have always thought and felt like it's important that they have stated, and local law enforcement has stated, that the CPS case does bleed over into Summers' case. I do think that feels like an important statement. Um, but yeah, I wanted to come on and share these things, to get it documented, to get it down, see if anybody else had any thoughts about it. But I'm gonna sign off. I've taken all my notes here. I had to write them down to make sure that I would get the points that I wanted to talk about. But listen, I hope you guys take care and share Summer's picture and her information. Just keep praying for her and her family and friends. Okay, you guys have a good day. Much love. Take care.